So now we move to the next presentation of Mr. Nguyen Đình and Ms. Nguyen Chi. The paper entitled, "What do Vietnamese feminists expect in regulation related to motherhood?" I think that not only me, a mother, but also the other mothers and also the other people. We pay a lot of attention to this presentation. So please, Mr. Nguyen Đình.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Dr. Kim Anh for the warm welcome. And yeah, and for a moment, we now make it full screen. Okay, can you hear? Can you see it clearly?
Yeah, it's okay today. We can see you clearly.
Cool. I will begin right now without further ado. And so thank the organizer to host this meaningful conference. We are honored to have the opportunity to present research to the panel. We are Nguyen and Chi, independent researchers. We are honored. As you can see, our research aims to answer the question, what do Vietnamese feminists expect in regulation related to mother? And we utilize the theory of ballet on feminist legal method. What already presented by the speaker in the morning, and to apply the mixed method research by combining quantitative and qualitative survey and in-depth interview, and we learn many insights Vietnamese feminists on motherhood. And I want to emphasize on the main finding that we found that feminist expectation of Vietnamese law can be summarized in three main themes: making parental benefits more inclusive for both partners. Second is ensuring laws that protect pregnant women and mothers more enforceable. And the last one is eliminating the gender language in the law. And so the structure of my talk is similar to our paper, containing 6 parts. I will try to briefly everything to catch up the schedule. So in the early 1900s, in Vietnam, feminist theory was introduced, and with more and more feminist research being explored and developed, and even gained some attention from Communist parties in 2007. And around the same period, Vietnam have observed an increasingly declining birth rate, with the higher women education level, the lower fertility rate. So we have a question that have Vietnamese regulation and cultural norms provide enough incentive for Vietnamese women to have children? And that puts us to elaborate into the research. And so why did we choose the interviewee as a feminist? Because we believe that Vietnamese feminists are the main actor to promote movement for women's rights at the moment and in the future. So their personal experience is a key factor for us to see the movement in the future. And I will try to skip some slide on literature review, which I believe that you can find out more clearly in the article. So we did refer to prominent scholar of feminists as Simone de Beauvoir and others to illustrate the different understanding between various brands of feminists on motherhood. And I can say the concept of motherhood is distinguished into biological and social concept. And notably, during the interview and survey, we did not record a significant number of ideas of Vietnamese feminists on this debate. And we just noticed that there are two clearly disadvantaged and a previous concept of motherhood in debates of feminists in the world. And on Vietnamese concept of motherhood, we rely on the research of Wendy Nicole Dung. I think she's quite famous and already mentioned in the morning by some speaker, and which was published 2 decades ago. And through the discourse analysis of cultural artifacts, Dung also identified the expectation that Vietnamese women must fulfill the thiên chức, or we can translate sacred duty or holy obligation to become mothers. This is an awareness of the majority of population in the past. And we also consider how a communist party our mother. And you can see how two important newspaper and journal that represent the party voice describe the concept of the mother. they are still emphasized on women as childbearer and the main person responsible for child rearing, as Zoom observed 2 decades ago. And the next one is about the research method. And as I mentioned before, we rely on the Bartlett-Taylor of feminist legal method to build a survey and the question interview. And we have 3 research questions. That's what is the Vietnamese feminist view on motherhood, and their view of the legal system and legal provision governing motherhood. And the last one is the expectation of the legal system regarding motherhood. And I think it's because it is difficult to estimate the size of feminist community in Vietnam, and we decide to use convenient sampling method to choose participants. However, we still focus on particular groups on Facebook, as I list here, and use screening question to select the most suitable participant. And for in-depth interview, we continue to select appropriate ones based on 2 criteria. And we have some reason here that we can divide the participant view on motherhood can be into 4 main response. That's positive, negative, and as a personal choice, and both positive and negative effect on women's life. So regarding the positive effect, they focus the majority of participants. They consider this is a positive, unique, positive experience because it expands their emotional capacity, develop their life skill, and it's a unique experience that only the mother can have. And notably, all the feminists consider is positive is they are the mother. They already have children, and they say that they feel overwhelming happy, and they have a special bond between them and their children. The one who have who think it's a negative effect on women's lives, they consider is the reason behind it is social pressure, such as economic disturbances, gender expectation in the motherhood experience. And as I state out that all of them are childless, they don't have children at all. And the third one is that some people consider it's personal choice, so it's up to their personal experience. They cannot give a clear answer, and but they agree that that the motherhood experience can be improved if women have complete autonomy over their decision to have children. Both the one who have a negative or positive, who think that motherhood can have a negative or positive effect on women's lives, they agree that the women should have complete autonomy over their decision to have children. And the final one is that they recognize unique experience, but they think that to become a woman, they have to sacrifice many things in their health and their career compared to men. And regarding the gender language, such as the sacred duty or thiên chức, which is mentioned a lot in the media, there is concern among participants about a certain sensitive term associated with traditional Vietnamese view on motherhood, and they tend to oppose this term. And during the interview, we found out that they also agree that the child care can be performed by other family members, including the child father or grandparents. Not the mother role is not irreplaceable. They can replaced by any member of the family. And on the view of the legal system and legal provision governing motherhood, there are three main points that they want the law to protect women's reproductive rights, to protect the right of both mother and their children, and to improve the society awareness of mother's significant role. And skip one. In terms of when speaking of the issue that Vietnamese mother may face, every participant use the word pressure to describe them, and they want to say they want to emphasize that the social pressure is the main reason that makes them become afraid of being a mother. And there are three main reasons: insensitive to the mother mental health, and the pressure of double responsibility, and the loss of autonomy. There are three main reasons, and they consider the culture that makes them more difficult to become mother rather than the law. And on the legal system regarding motherhood, there are three comments, significant comments, that the use of gender language in the law was criticized clearly by most of the participants. And they say that the law doesn't fit the reality of women's experience. And even some provisions that aim to protect their benefit, they still consider it's not, it doesn't fit their lives clearly. And the last one is the laws that favor women actually generate stereotype rather than protect them. And they said that it makes the stereotype that women are the weak side, so they have to gain more benefit than the men. And from the point of views we discussed to answer the research question, and besides to research procedure, we explore some facts that could elaborate more in another research. That's the reluctance to use the term 𝗕𝗓𝗏 quyền, because they state that they want to use such term that phong trào vị nữ more than 𝗕𝗓𝗏 quyền, because they said it's more focused on the gender equality, and they attack the gender language that's what used to perpetuate patriarchal value in Vietnamese society. And the participants situate the law in the context of Vietnam culture and believe that the lawmaker will also influenced by this culture, which guides their decision-making process. And as we have observed, none of the participants apply to any specific school of thought in their understanding of feminism, feminist legal theory. And Vietnamese feminists have we have a conclusion that Vietnamese feminists have received Western feminist doctrine and adjust their understanding to suit the cultural context rather than accepting any of the school of thought that we have mentioned. And their interest regarding motherhood, that they I can mention this in the conclusion also. So the view on motherhood. So we after analyzing both in-depth interview and survey, we conclude that the Vietnamese feminists agree to view motherhood as a personal matter that can have both positive and negative effect on women, depending on each woman's personal context. And the negative effect mentioned was primarily caused by the Vietnamese social structure and patriarchal culture rather than childbearing itself. They do not afraid of be afraid of giving birth, but they are afraid of the social pressure. And Vietnamese feminists want to remove the issue of from Vietnam patriarchal social judgment, so that women can gain more decision-making power, especially regarding important choice, such as a person want to have whether the person want to have children or not. And the view of the legal system and legal provision governing motherhood. So there are three main themes: use of gender language. The law doesn't fit the reality of women's experience, and the law that favor women actually generates stereotype rather than protect them. And the last one is that the expectation. That's making maternity benefit more inclusive, ensuring that law are enforceable, and eliminating the gender language in the law. And that's the end of my presentation. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Nguyễn Đình Đức, for your presentation.